Hey, it's time for episode 35 of the Courageous Nation podcast. I'm so glad that we are together today. We're going to do part two. We did part one in episode 34. Today we're doing part two of the fast track to a great life. And I'm really pumped up today. I'm excited today. I'm on day 7 of a liquid-only, nutritionally supplemented fast. And in this episode, we're going to do what I promised you that we would do in episode 34. I'm going to show you exactly what I do, the kind of supplements I take, and what to expect, what you can expect to experience if you were to do the same thing. Now, a disclaimer again, you want to make sure that you do this kind of a thing under the supervision of a bona fide medical professional, a healthcare professional. I am not giving you health advice. I'm simply sharing from my own journey with the hope that you will learn a thing or two in your own life and move forward. That's what it is all about, right? It's all about moving forward. My name is Michael Anthony. If you want to learn more about me, you can go to michaelanthonyofficial.com, or you can also go to couragematters.com. You can follow me, like me, do all kinds of stuff on Instagram and on my YouTube channel. Instagram is at Michael Anthony Official. YouTube, same thing, Michael Anthony Official. And you just put in youtube.com/Michael Anthony Official. And this podcast, beginning with episode 30, they're now on our YouTube channel. So you'll be able to watch and be able to comment. And if you comment, I'll reply, I'll respond. And everything that I'm going over today in regard to the supplements, you're going to be able to see on my YouTube channel. Just look for episode 35. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, look for episode 35 on my YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see exactly what I'm taking and be able to understand the specifics of that, all right? And don't forget, if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit the bell so that you don't miss anything when I come out with something new. I'm doing more and more content now. We've kind of arrived, so to speak. We're firing on all 8 cylinders. I don't want to say 4 cylinders or 6 cylinders. Why not go 8? Why not go 12, right? We're firing on all cylinders, turning out great content now really consistently. So I'm super excited. So in this episode, I want to help you understand and piggyback off of what we talked about in episode 34, which I shared the reasons for doing this type of a fast. It's not a juice fast. It's not a Daniel fast. It is a fast where I'm abstaining from any solid foods, but I am supplementing nutritionally. And I'm going to share with you some of the specific nutritional supplements that I take, and you need to consult with your healthcare physician, practitioner, to do whatever he or she might say. And if you don't have somebody who's in favor of doing this kind of thing, do your research, look for maybe a naturopath, and you'll be able to find somebody who's great. If you want a suggestion, if you want to network, I can certainly introduce you to a practitioner that I use, and he's located in Oregon. Don't say Oregon, because that's not correct. He's located in Oregon, and I'm sure that he'd be able to do a phone consult with you. He's done phone consults with me as well. So just let me know. I'll be glad to pass that on. Again, not as an endorsement, but simply for informational purposes. This is for informational purposes only. So here we go. We're going to jump in. First thing I do is I supplement with a good protein powder. And here what I'm using this is from Biotics research. This is not an endorsement of them. It's just what I take. They'll probably contact me now and say, hey, would you do more of that? I only talk about the things in my life, whether it's coffee or whether it's this kind of stuff, because I appreciate it, I benefit, and I share honestly what I use. This is Hydrolyzed Collagen Protein. This is the chocolate cream flavor, which I love. They also have a vanilla, but I like the chocolate, and it's really good. And this provides, just one serving of this is only 100 calories, and it provides 21 grams of protein. That's a significant amount of protein, and it provides a little bit of sodium, and this is a great thing to take for protein intake, because remember, when you're doing this kind of a fast, when you're seeking God, or even if you're not seeking God, maybe you're an atheist or you're an agnostic, or you haven't decided which side of the fence you're on there, I will not hold that against you. Don't hold my faith against me. Okay, I won't hold it against you. This is an opportunity for us to have some serious dialogue and to push each other and to encourage each other, to fire each other up. What you want to make sure you're not doing is losing muscle and affecting your tissues and your joints in a negative way. So you want to make sure you're maintaining muscle mass. You're not losing muscle. If you want to lose fat, that's one thing. It's great to lose excess fat. It's great to have your insulin level equalized, to get that standardization back, but you don't want to be losing muscle. And that's one of the primary things that people do. They make a huge mistake when they do intermediate length fasting between 3 days and 2 weeks, for example. That's what I'm referring to as an intermediate length fast. When they're not eating solid foods, they'll eat they'll eat vegetables, they'll eat fruits, but they will lack in the protein. And if you don't get enough protein, it's easy to find out the daily allowance of what you should take for protein. And it's usually good to go maybe a little bit higher than the lowest amount that's recommended. But it's very easy to have your protein lack. And before you know it, you will be losing muscle. You'll be affecting your tissues and your joints and your ligaments negatively, and also your brain function. So that's what I do. I take this supplement. It's really helpful for me, and I love it. I love the flavor of it. And sometimes I'll throw a banana in there. And you're going to say to yourself, well, I thought you said liquid only. It gets liquefied, all right? It gets liquefied. I'm not putting meat in there and liquefying that, but that's as far as I will go. I will put like a banana in there and liquefy it and put it in my my Vitamixer. I have a Vitamixer. Then I also do this. I do this PB Fit. This is the organic. This is the powder. And you can get this online at maybe Amazon. You can get it at Kmart or Walmart. Is Kmart even in existence anymore? I don't know. Not a slam on Kmart. We just don't have any of them around here in my area. But this I'll take as well, and I'll add it to the chocolate, and it will give a great peanut butter flavor for those of you who like peanut butter. The advantage of this, you might say to yourself, well, why not just use real peanut butter? Because when you use regular peanut butter, you're jacking up the calories dramatically, unnecessarily. You're jacking up the fat unnecessarily. And this stuff is great because it gives you additional protein. Like 2 tablespoons adds only 70 calories, and it gives you only 5 grams of carbohydrates, so that's great. And it increases your protein by another 8 grams. So I'll throw in 2 tablespoons. Sometimes I'll put in 4 tablespoons. And I'll put this in with the chocolate. I'll have a delicious, sometimes chocolate, banana, peanut butter shake. And putting all those together, I have 100 calories from the protein, 70 to 140 calories from the peanut butter, and then the banana, which you do the math and you can figure out what the calories are. So if I'm equalizing, getting rid of the tire tube, getting rid of some excess body fat, this is a great way to do that. Again, if your healthcare practitioner says that's a great way to do it, that it's a smart way to do it, I do it that way. And listen, your healthcare practitioner should be able to tell you, listen, as long as you take the right supplements, as long as you're not decreasing the amount of protein that you take, and as long as you're a good candidate to do this kind of thing, you can have tremendous success with this type of an intermediate fast. So if don't be surprised if you go to your healthcare practitioner and they say, I've never done anything like that, never subscribed that to anybody, then you need to find somebody who will be able to do that with you, because it's all about change is what brings change in your life. You don't leave change up to chance. If you want to bring about some changes in your life, you got to change some things in your life. As I said in part 1 in episode 34, if you want an extraordinary life, you've got to pursue doing extraordinary things. And one of the things that I'll also do, again, from Biotics research, this is something that is their NutriClear Free. And I'm going to read exactly what it says on the label. It's nutritional support for detoxification and metabolic clearing functions. This stuff, again, has additional protein in it. 90 calories for a serving, 17 grams. It's not primarily for protein. It's primarily for exactly what I just said it was. And again, I'll list this on my YouTube channel so that you know what I'm taking. You might say to yourself, well, what if, that stuff might be expensive. I can't get that stuff at a reasonable rate. Well, what I'm doing for you is I'm telling you what I use. There are other alternatives to this, but you want to make sure they're not filled with sugars. These things are not filled with sugars. You want to make sure they're not filled with artificial ingredients and all kinds of stuff that is going to do the exact opposite to your body of what you want this to do, to be a mind clearing, a body clearing, a spirit enriching process. So I'm just sharing with you some of the things that I take and what I use. You may be able to come across other things that are great for you as well. Now, the other 2 things I have right here, I have Multi Plus, which is a multivitamin, a great supplement, which again I use from Biotics research, and again multi-minerals. And these things are really important. You can hear them, iTunes guys and gals, and on Spotify. You can hear I have this stuff in my hand. I'm showing this to the YouTube audience, those who are watching and enjoying on the YouTube channel. The reason why you want to take not just vitamins and not just minerals is because each is important for the other. Each one is important for the other. You need minerals to be able to assimilate the vitamins. You need the vitamins to be able to for your body to be able to appreciate the minerals. Think of your body as an ecosystem. And you want that ecosystem to be healthy. You want to have a balanced pH level. You don't want to have an acidic body level. That's a breeding ground for cancer and heart disease and all kinds of stuff. And I can tell you that as a cancer survivor, as somebody who nearly died 4 times. That's the truth. That you want to make sure that your body has a healthy ecosystem, that your body is a healthy ecosystem. You know, a lot of people have as little as a few ounces of undigested meat in their intestinal tract to perhaps a couple of pounds. No kidding, depending on what your diet is, depending on how healthy you are, and depending on how old you are, your body will accumulate this kind of stuff. And now think about it this way. In a toxic waste site where there are toxic waste dumps, where they have 50-gallon drums or 30-gallon drums or whatever, sealed containers, with the passage of time over a couple of decades, that stuff has rusted. This is a fact. Even on nuclear sites, the way they used to do stuff, they would bury this stuff, and the containers from years ago when we used to do it in incredibly foolish ways, that stuff has rusted. And then you get toxic leaks where this stuff is now leaking out of the containers and destroying the environment, the ecosystem. Your body functions in a very similar way. If you understand your body as an ecosystem, you understand that if your intestinal tract has toxins and undigested, unhealthy food, that's putrefying, literally putrefying, and it's staying there. Your intestinal tract, for example, has pockets in it. Has pockets in it. And the food particles and the toxins get trapped in those pockets, and your intestines will just get smooth with the passage of time. They get smoothed out by the undigested food and the toxins that remain in there. And this stuff will begin to leach back into your body. So this is one of the reasons why doing this type of a liquid-only, nutritionally supplemented fast can be a tremendously positive thing for you. And here what I have, I'm taking also a healthy fiber supplement that you can get online as well without a lot of additives. Be careful. Read the labels. Without a lot of additives in it. I take these things throughout the course of the day, typically about 5 capsules to get a good amount of fiber. So every time I'm having a shake, I'm also taking fiber. I'm also supplementing with the things that I'm talking about here, and making sure I'm feeding my body. What the fiber does, think of it as a broom that sweeps out your intestinal tract, your digestive system of all the garbage that's in it. And along with that, I take a good probiotic. And this one is refrigerated. I take refrigerated ones with a very high dosage. This one in particular has 50 billion CFU active cultures, 50 billion with 20 strains. So it's not just taking acidophilus or 1 or 2 of them together. This has 20 different strains of variety, right? We diversify with our financial portfolios, right? You diversify with the probiotics, the healthy bacteria, the flora in your intestinal tract. And the reason why you do that is because there's a mind and gut connection. Now they're referring to your gut. It's becoming more and more prominent to refer to your gut as the second brain. So a healthy gut can lead to healthy thinking, healthy cognitive function. So I take a refrigerated form of probiotics as well to supplement my body and to make sure that I'm putting in healthy stuff so that if I do healthy things with my body will reward me. And speaking of rewarding my body, another thing that I'll take, a supplement, is a Biomega. This is a Biomega 500. This, again, is from Biotics research, and this is an omega-3 fatty acid. This is great for brain function. And by the way, if you're drinking a lot of high fructose corn syrup, which is in everything from processed pancakes to the cereals that we eat, many of the cereals that we don't eat them, you shouldn't be eating them, to the sugared sports drinks that we're having, sodas that we're drinking, that stuff takes up space in your brain, in your gray matter, and it makes it impossible for good stuff to take up that space. It creates brain fog. It literally does. That's why you can go through a detox, a healthy detox, when you're detoxing your body, and it prevents something like an omega-3 fatty acid, which is the exact opposite. It's healthy. It helps your brain think good. It helps your mind. I didn't say that properly grammatically, but it helps your brain think clearly and function clearly. But if you have a high fructose, if you have a high fructose diet, you're not going to allow this. You're going to get your brain is going to get clogged up with that junk, literally. So this is what I take throughout the course of the day. I'll take probably one with each meal, sometimes two with each meal. And by meal, I mean the liquid supplement meal that I'm talking about. This is great stuff. It's also good for your tissues, for your ligaments, for your whole body, as well as your brain. And then also I take a B complex. I take a great B complex because oftentimes your vitamin does not have enough B complex. And this is great for energy. This is great for energy. You don't need to be taking things like Red Bull. These are artificial stimulants filled with caffeine, filled with sugar, filled with additives that are not natural. They're not good for your body, and therefore you should not take them. Now, before I show you this hack, this mind hack that I do, I want to bring this to your attention as well. I take a daily amino. I get this one in particular. This is 21st Century. Again, I'm going to list this. It's not an endorsement. It's just what I take. I'm going to list this on my YouTube channel. An amino acid is really helpful for brain function and for tissue repair, for body repair. And I think I said it before, either in this episode or the previous episode. You don't want to be doing physically taxing things like going out and running a marathon, doing heavy cardio, doing heavy weightlifting. You don't want to be doing those types of things while you're doing this type of a fast, because you're going to be taxing your body when instead your body is in a reparative state. The other thing that I also do is I take trace mineral drops. These are drops. You hear that? It's liquid. And I take these throughout the course of the day because trace minerals are really important. You can do some research on the importance of trace minerals in your own nutrition. I don't like referring to what you're taking in regard to food and supplements as diet. You shouldn't be looking at this as a diet. You should be looking at this as nutrition. What are you doing nutritionally to help your body recover from disease, to help your mind, mentally, your emotions, and even your physical state? There is and even your spiritual state. There is a correlation between how you're doing physically and psychologically and emotionally and how you're doing spiritually. There is a correlation between those two, and you shouldn't be so cut and dry and say, well, this is all spiritual and this is all physical. There is a correlation between each one. They reinforce each other. And you hear me talking about those 7 areas of life. There's no one area of life that doesn't affect the others. Those 7 areas, again: relationships, spiritual life, health and fitness, finances, career, education, and rest and recreation. So any goal, anything you want to achieve in life, anything you want to change in life, you don't leave it up to chance. You get intentional about it. Remember, if you want to have an extraordinary life, you need to take extraordinary measures. It's not a surprise. So this is what this is all about, this whole idea of intermediate length fasting. Here's one of the tricks that I'll use. I'll use better than bouillon seasoning. This particular one is seasoned roasted chicken. Now, they have these in cube form. I'm using the paste form, and it's refrigerated once you open it. And this stuff is just delicious. This is fantastic. They have it not only in the bouillon form, but they also have mushroom. I love their mushroom flavor. They have ham, different types of ham flavoring, and roasted beef. And the reason why this is so good, you're going to get hungry at times. You're going to get hungry. Your body, when I was doing the other episode, my stomach was growling. It was growling. It was telling me, hey, listen, you're talking about fasting, and you're making me hungry, Mike. So you're going to get hungry, and your body's going to be screaming, especially at certain times of the day when you're used to eating at certain times of the day. But you're toughening yourself up by doing this. I remember I talked about this in episode 34. You're toughening yourself up by doing this so that you're preparing yourself to live an extraordinary life. You're saying no. You're doing what the Apostle Paul said when he said, I buffet my body, not I buffet. Not I buffet my body. This is the exact opposite. I buffet my body and make it a slave so that I can, the idea is so that Paul could do things that he otherwise would not be able to do, could not be able to do. He's toughening himself up, mind, body, and spirit so that he could be faithful to God and live that extraordinary life. The reason why this stuff is good, this is better than bouillon, is because what it enables you to do is when you get hungry, you heat up some water, you put some of this in a cup. I put parsley flakes. I go outside, I get some fresh parsley. We have a parsley plant that is like an amazing parsley plant, amazingly resilient. It survived through snow and tremendous winter this past winter. I'll put parsley in it. Sometimes I'll put some red pepper. I have dried red pepper from the red pepper plants, the dragon peppers that I grew. Sometimes I'll put a little bit of that in there, and I'll put some onion powder and some garlic powder, and I'll mix that up, and it's just delicious, and it can help you. It can help tide you over. So between shakes, sometimes even right after a shake, I'll have one of those drinks to help me just stay the course, help me stay the course. You might say to yourself, well, that sounds like it's cheating. It's not cheating compared to the alternative, which is to be eating. So unless you're eating, it's not really cheating. You understand what I'm saying? And everybody has what they're able to do and what they're not able to do. And you might be crushing it. You might be making me look like a wimp compared to what you're doing. This is not about me comparing myself to you or you comparing yourself to me. It's about living an extraordinary life and moving from where you are to where you want to be, where you need to be. So if you do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, the day can come when you can do what you want to do when you want to do it. And that's credited to none other than Zig Ziglar. Had a profound impact on my life. I actually wrote him, asked him for an autographed photograph, and he sent one back to me and to my wife Janet, and to me. And I have that to this day, autographed copy of that photograph from Zig Ziglar, who's no longer with us, but that's a great example of a man who had a tremendous legacy. If you do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, the day will come when you can do what you want to do when you want to do it. So if you buffet your body, if you discipline yourself, if you take the hard course now through using intermediate length fasting, when difficult times and circumstances and curveballs come your way in life, I absolutely, positively guarantee you that you'll be able to navigate through them much better because you will be prepared. The best time to prepare for an exam is before the exam papers are handed out. There it is. The best time to prepare for an exam is before the exam papers are handed out. Once those papers are handed out, you can't study and prepare anymore. And you never know what's going to happen to you in the course of your life. So by integrating this kind of intermediate length fasting into your life, you can toughen yourself up, discipline yourself, prepare yourself while you're treating your body well. That's why supplementing is a great way with healthy, nutritional, natural state, as close to the natural state as possible. Supplements can help you not lose body mass, not lose protein, not lose muscle, not lose tissue, not lose brain cognition, but it actually can help you move forward while you're achieving the big objective, which is saying no to something that's pretty significant, which is solid foods. Now, there, again, as I said, there are vegetable fasts where you're eating only vegetables and sometimes fruits. There are juicing fasts that people can go through. You want to be careful that you don't just juice, because if you're just juicing, for example, it's a little bonus material here. If you're just juicing and you're not eating protein, what's going to happen is your blood sugar level is going to skyrocket, and you're going to get that immediate boost of energy, and then you're going to crash. You're going to want to go to sleep. That's one of the reasons why that happens. And you're wreaking havoc on your pancreas, by the way. You're wreaking havoc on your pancreas. My father died of pancreatic cancer. My uncle died of pancreatic cancer. Your pancreas is what regulates your insulin. So when you're eating high sugar foods or high carbohydrate foods and you're not balancing that with healthy, lean protein, what happens is your blood sugar levels can get all thrown off, unstable, and you can get that immediate high at the expense of crashing and burning soon after. So you want to be careful. You want to be careful that you're taking care of your pancreas. You want to be careful. I think that's one of the reasons why we're seeing so many people come down with, my personal opinion, pancreatic cancer and pancreatic disorders these days, because our diets are all out of whack. And especially like if you're eating late at night right before you go to bed, guess what? Your pancreas is not resting. It's working. So sleep when you sleep, rest when you rest, and let your whole body rest when it's resting. Why not? So that when you wake up in the morning, you're refreshed, you're invigorated, you're ready to go. So I hope this has helped you. These are the things that I do. Again, consult your healthcare practitioner and get expert advice before you launch into anything like this. I'm not trying to be more spiritual than you. I'm not trying to be somebody who's special. I'm just sharing these are the things that I'm doing because I realize that difficult times are already here. Difficult times are on the horizon. If you're not paying attention, you need to pay attention and get your head out of your bucket And I want to be somebody who's ready for Christ's return. I'm not waiting for a divine bailout. I want to prepare myself to go through difficulty and hardship. And you think about it this way, in the history of the world, there are great people who loved God who went through very difficult times, and they did not receive a divine bailout. You don't know what God's going to do in your life. I don't know what God's going to do in my life. I want to be as tough and as resilient as possible so that no matter what comes my way, I am ready to give God 100% without diversion, without distraction, not looking to the left or looking to the right, not looking over my shoulder to see who's following, but pressing on because I know that I am following my Lord, my Savior, Jesus Christ. And I hope that inspires you to do the same thing. And by the way, if you don't agree with that, I won't hold it against you. Again, all I ask is that you don't hold this against me. And you really should check into the claims of Jesus. I'm not talking about the claims of churches. There can be a great disparity, a great difference, and by great I don't mean good, a terrible difference between what churches are doing and what they're saying compared to what Jesus did and what Jesus says. So there can be a difference, and I want to make that really clear. So hopefully this has helped you. If it has helped you and you want to get loving kicks in the butt throughout the course of your week, you want to get texts from me as part of the Courageous Nation. It's free. Just text "Hey" right now. Just say "Hey" or "Hey Mike" to this number. We'll put it right up on the screen, 917-724-0964. You'll get an automatic response. Do what it says when you get that response, and then you will be in my address book. I will be in your address book, and when I release a video, maybe an inspirational quote or a bit of advice that will help you move forward, crush your goals, and develop courage as your new way of life, you won't be left out. You'll be among the growing group of people who are part of the Courageous Nation. That's all I have for today. I hope this has helped you. Text me 917-724-0964. In the meantime, this is Michael Anthony reminding you to keep looking up. There's no place else worth looking, and keep moving forward.